I founded construction sport. It's been kind of moving along in the last 6 years to a certain degree. The last few years it's come to fruition a little bit off the back of COVID. I think because of what COVID did, it heightened everyone's issues around the mental health subject. But my kind of background, I've always been a construction worker for the last 18 years now. Ended up in the groundwork game and kind of went across the country doing that really. But in 2008 got caught up in a sulfuric acid attack out in Essex, where I live, we're not far from where we are now. That led me down a path of pretty much not self-destruction as such, but where I didn't understand my head, and my head kind of took me to some strange places over the years, and is to this day a bit hard to understand, but for the better reasons. So I kind of went down this route of I really want to look into this and try and understand why I went through what I went through. And it just led me down this route that everyone around me on a building site is in the same boat as me. We've not all been through the same storm as such, or we all go through different storms, but we're all in different boats. There's a kind of I've been on this route, and now I'm speaking to so many guys across many jobs. I work as a foreman across quite a few projects and stuff. I now have my own groundworks business. But we have a lot of people that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, and the staff changes all the time, so you're always meeting new faces. And I noticed that everybody around me is in a very similar place or gone through something. And really, there was no support from the industry as such. I always just depended on the good people in it, and that's what I've realised today. We don't get enough support from up top. The businesses in the corporate world don't know what we're going through on the ground. From the tradesmen who work on their own and the random house bashing stuff, or just doing DIY for someone, to the guys on the biggest projects. There's no big entities that fully support us. They give us services, but what they do. But we do this now. This is pretty much what we do. We're proactive about it. We go out there, say to lads, to be honest, construction sport is selfish. It's completely selfish on my behalf. I want to play football, and I want to play rugby, and I want to play golf. I want to enjoy myself, but I also want to enjoy my family life at the weekends. So I do everything now to literally during the week. So what can we do, lads, to have a laugh? So I create events, create opportunities under the charity kind of banner, and we all come together and do this. So I called out, I also know in Essex alone, in terms of rugby, there was 4 suicides last year in just the rugby community. So it's important for us to this month to kind of put something together for the rugby community as well as the construction community. So we brought them all together. Just happens a lot of the rugby lads are construction lads anyway. And we're here from probably about 8 or 9 different clubs, 2 or 3 people from each club. We've got Mistley Rugby Club, Colchester Rugby Club, South Woodham Rugby Club, Malden Rugby Club, Essex Fire Brigade. There's a group, like 30 lads out there. A lot of them know 2 or 3 people, and that's it. They're all different, but they're all here under this banner tonight, knowing that it's about letting off a bit of steam. Life's dark. Life can get very dark, especially these days, and how tough it is. But if you give people little reasons of light so that you realise that it's not all that dark, we can enjoy ourselves. But construction workers need to be given opportunities and create opportunities for each other, really. And we're very much, you've got to look after yourself and look after the bloke in the van next to you. So.
On a recent BBC documentary, you said that you felt that a number of construction workers taking their own lives was higher than the official ONS figures. Mm-hmm. Why is that, do you think? And where because currently they're saying it's around 10 a week.
Yeah, so I think it's coming out, it's just short of 10 a week, it's come out to. There's so many people, I think, out there, or just people don't realise they're in construction today. So many of those one-man bands out there where I don't think probably their kind of career or their business even take into account that that's actually playing a part of the issue.
You think they're looking at the larger, like small to mediums maybe, rather than the smaller than small?
Well, that's where all the funding's going, and that's what you can see. The top, that's kind of chiefs of the industry, really, the big corporate jobs that will have these facilities and they have the cash there, but the people on the ground, there really is nothing out there to support them, is there? Really, yeah. I don't think. And there's no money being pushed into that way because, unfortunately, I don't think a lot of people see it as a return on investment, probably, should we say. But
now, you recently visited the Houses of Parliament with other construction leaders to discuss mental health in the industry. What were some of the key achievements of that visit, and do you ultimately believe that you were heard?
That visit was interesting. It gave me absolutely zero confidence in the system, to be honest. I come away from that. It was measured. The success of mental health, I think the 2 words were put together, was measured on mental health awareness courses being sold. and we all listen to that in the room. We're doing well here. We've sold X amount of mental health courses in this industry. To me, there's not one part of mental health in construction that warrants the word success, I don't think. I think we're realising that we're massively failing here. We haven't put our hands up to it as an industry. I'll put my hands up and say we haven't done enough. I think the whole industry knows we all can do more together. But they were in there, we had, a Member of Parliament stood up there and said, we are succeeding in that light. And I kind of thought, and he's pushing for mental health courses to be pushed out from the Mental Health First Aid England stuff across the board, and they think that will make it succeed. But there's evidence out, there's data that shows that that isn't working, and the statistics have just got worse and worse. So the system is broken, the strategy and the campaigns that are put together are broken, and they're pretty much nothing but lip service. I don't think construction mental health needs any money put into it. I personally think this industry's got far more money than we realise, and we've got the resources there to support it. I don't think we need anything from the government, apart from maybe to say the legislation thing, you need to do that. I've got a big gripe with the HSE, and they can write this paperwork for us and give us some legislation to follow, but I don't believe that we need any money for this. I think that is what's going wrong at the moment. I think there's people out there who are gunning for funding when we don't need the funding. We just need good people with morals to push forward and say that we go and do what we do all the time and it succeeds. We're run by volunteers. We've got funding coming in, supported by construction companies, but we've done a lot of this just off the backs of just being good people. And I feel that if the industry realised that, if the moral high ground was taken, then we'd go very well. We've seen just literally last week the amount of corruption that's come out in this industry, in the demolition world. And I've spoken to a lot of people over different levels of the industry in the last week. No one's surprised by that. Everybody knows it goes on. Yeah. So when you actually put in to think that's what's happening at its top level, this money's being shifted about, that's taking priority rather than people's health, really.
How important is the role, do you think, of employers, of contractors, in improving the mental health of tradespeople? And then I'm going to caveat that and say, do you think they're bothered?
There are, shall we say, rough diamonds in there. There are people in there who are bothered, and unfortunately they're bothered because they've witnessed something or felt something themselves. It always seems to be that we have to experience seriously bad situations, then realise what's morally right, I think. And then the people who don't get it, don't understand it, we've met many of them, and now later down the line they're going, I fully get it now, I've just literally lost someone, or I've done this, or those people, the senior side of it, they've got, especially on the bigger jobs and the kind of, on the client side of it, the pressure comes from the top and it rolls downhill, doesn't it, on every part of it. The guys on the ground, there's incidents and accidents, you look at riddors across the industry, all these accidents, they're all down, I think 90, it's hard to say what they are, but 90-odd%, very high 90s, is human error. And when you look at why did someone stump their toe or why did someone squash their hand, usually because they've got something else on their mind and they're literally distracted. And that's your mental health at the end of the day. If you're thinking about something else and worrying, you're going to get hurt on site. So the people on that side of it, I believe, need to realise they've got a lot of power, and it's the atmosphere and environment they provide as well, I think. That's what casts a building site. You can go from one site to another, and I think just from human energy, you can tell when a site's literally buzzing and everyone's enjoying themselves. Yeah. Or you go to another one and it's just negative, and you can feel it, can't you, in the air.
So where do you think we're at now?
I think we're making inroads on the ground of it. I think the people at the bottom are hearing a lot more of it and realising, and you're getting influential figures in the kind of different parts of society that are standing up and talking about it, and it all helps. But I don't think anything above senior level is literally realising how important and kind of what the truth of this is. I think it's very much seen, and I'll say this all the time, it's a cash scheme for a lot of organisations, other charities and all that. People putting big money in the way of actually just support, and it's disgusting and shameful, I believe. And people come to us all the time as well, and even as a charity, like we want to support a charity doing this, I'm like, it doesn't have to be a charity thing. This is just about human beings being human beings at the day. We don't need to be a charity thing with this. And I'm not a charity person at all. I'm a ground worker, I'm a construction worker. I was put off by a few charities 2 or 3 years back, or 5 years ago. And I went, the only way you can listen to me is I've set my own charity up then. So I didn't want to go this route, but I've had to. Unfortunately, with the support of a good few people, the ground worker trying to fill out paperwork, it was quite hard to get charity status, but I had the right people around me. And I was like, well, this is the only way I'll get heard if I went through the charity route.